Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar from the Federation of Master Builders. My name's Hayley and I'm Director of Membership at the FMB. And whether you're a regular attendee at our FMB webinars or this is your first visit to one, or indeed if you're watching this on catch up later on, you're very, very welcome. If you've ever thought about entering the FMB Awards but haven't yet done that, or even if you have entered previously and you thought you might have been able to do a better job with your entry, then you're in exactly the right place this afternoon, because we have brought together 3 experts who can really give you the inside information that you need to do a great job of crafting your award-winning entry and also showcase your work in the very best light. So today we're joined by the FMB's very own Laura Marshall, who's our Head of Commercial and Events, who does a fabulous job of organising the awards, not only the events that are the culmination of our awards programme, but everything leading up to that. So she can go through all that you need to know about the timings, the key dates, etc., how to enter the awards. And we also have Angela Hyam, who's the founder of Overview, who partner with businesses to help to showcase their work in the best way as well. And then last but not least, we'll have Alex Strikovs, who is Director of Home Republic Limited down in Surrey, Master Builder member. And Alex has won multiple awards, not just the FMB awards, but with other organisations like Considerate Constructors as well. So Alex has a wealth of knowledge and experience to share with you all too. So as we're going through the webinar, if a question occurs to you, there is a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. You should be able to see that down there. You can just type your question in there, and then the speakers will answer those as a panel at the end of the session. And I will remind everybody that there is no such thing as a daft question. But if you feel your question is daft, you can ask it anonymously in any case. But if you're thinking of a question, somebody else probably is too. So don't hesitate to put it in there. So we were going to ask you a question before we start the webinar, and unfortunately I have actually forgotten how to launch the question. Here it is. So just before we start, we want to know how many of the people in the audience have previously entered for the Master Builder Awards before. So I am going to launch that poll on the screen. It'll be useful for our speakers to know the answer to that. So if you can just it's a yes or no question. So if you just click whichever box applies to you, I'll leave that on the screen for a moment or two so that we know what your answers are. Okay, so I'm going to end that now, and I'm going to share the results which show that most of you haven't entered the awards before, but some people have. Hopefully you can see that on your screen now. Well, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that information. So I am now going to hand over to our first speaker, who's Laura, who's going to go through all of the key information about entering the awards. Thank you, Laura.
Brilliant. Thanks, Hayley. Let me quickly share my screen and share. Just checking. Hayley, you can give me the nod. Can everyone see the slides? Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Brilliant. Hi everyone. And so before we go into the rest of the webinar, I thought it might be quite useful for me to give you a brief overview of sort of the awards timeline, eligibility, the entry process, and the 2025 categories. So the Master Builder Awards celebrates your hard work and earns you the industry recognition that you deserve. And the 2025 awards sponsored by Isuzu are expected to open in mid to late October, so keep your eyes peeled for the announcement of when you can start submitting your entries. Only FMB members can enter the awards, and it's free, so it's a great membership benefit. So do make use of it and enter as many as you can. So in terms of at this point, because nominations isn't open, it's good time to start planning. And the best thing to do is kind of work through this little checklist and work out, one, is your project eligible, or is it going to fit with the terms and conditions? I've got a slide next that'll go into that in a little bit more detail. And then it's also a great time now to start gathering some images. Quality photos are so important to showcase your project and impress the judges. please try and make sure you capture the project as a whole, not just a detail. Get there on a nice sunny day. It's actually sunny here in Leeds for once. It would be a perfect day to take some photos of a project. And then once you've got those lovely pictures, you can upload 10 per entry for category projects. It's best to really focus on the finished project, and pictures, really do speak 1,000 words. Also, getting yourself prepared for the awards. It's a good idea to speak to your clients early. You'll need their permission to use their property in your entry. It'll be, the images might be published on the FMB website, social media channels, in the media. We don't collect any private information from them. It's just those images that we use, but you do need to make sure they're happy with that. And while you're doing that, make sure you ask them for a testimonial about what they love about the project or why they enjoyed working with you, as this really does help your entry stand out. Eligibility, as I said, I had another slide on this one because it's a little bit more complicated. So you need to read the T's and C's before you submit your entry. But I've picked out a few key points that I think are really important. And if there's any questions on eligibility, I'm happy to answer those at the end, because I know this sometimes is one of the things people have the most questions about. But the key thing is any nominated projects must have been complete between the 1st of January 2023 and the 1st of January 2025. And all the work must have been wholly completed by the master builder for it to be eligible. For nominations for the people categories, such as things like Outstanding Builder of the Year and Apprentice of the Year, these can be made directly by clients, colleagues, fellow FMB members, anyone that sort of wants to shout about you. They can do that themselves. However, the tradesperson or apprentice being nominated must have worked for a master builder company between the 1st of January 2023 and the 1st of January 2025. So they must have worked with you at that point. You can also nominate as well, but if you do kind of get a client nomination, just make sure, they are aware of that. And then for the sort of business one categories, for things like Business of the Year or Workplace Culture Award, it must highlight achievements and challenges that have happened during the period of the 1st of January 2023 to the 1st of January 2025. So it's the same little window for every single one, but just to reinforce that, that's kind of the window we're looking for. Now, if you've got an amazing project you're working on, you're thinking, oh, it's brilliant, it'd be perfect for the awards, but it's not going to quite be finished by January, then please do just make sure you keep the pictures, keep the case studies, get the client testimonials, because it will be eligible in the next awards, and we do really want to see it. So here are the 2025 categories. In total, we've got 13. A few of them you'll recognise if you've ever done the awards. I think there was a few of you that had. There's a few favourites that have come back, and there's been a couple of changes. So the key changes we've introduced a Workplace Culture Award, which we've never had before, which we're going to celebrate the amazing work that a lot of the businesses are doing with their people. We've also had added an Outstanding Builder of the Year, which is replacing the Heavenly Builder category, just to make it a little bit clearer. And finally, Business of the Year, which is replacing Building Company of the Year, again, just to make it a little bit clearer what that category is after and what we're looking for. More details on each of these categories has actually been published in this month's magazine, so please do have a look at page, I think it's 32 and 33, in either the print edition, which should have come through your door by now, or in the online magazine, but it'll also all go on the website for the launch. Okay, so these are a few of my personal top tips. So don't forget about the kitchen project, the bathroom project, or your smaller projects. So I often hear from members that we don't have any large £1 million projects to submit, but all of the images on your screen now are examples of winners from 2023 that didn't have those £1 million budgets, that were the smaller projects. There is a category for every project, and the judges do consider all parts of the project, including things like customer feedback or problem solving, or a good story can often really compel them to pick a winner. So there was one last time that I know they won because they did so much within such a small budget, and the judges thought it was really creative what the builder did and recycled a lot of stuff and things, and that actually was what gave them the edge to win, not that they had this massive budget. So please do think about all the different projects that you're working on. There is a category for everyone. My other top tip is applying for multiple awards for each project. So for example, say I'm a builder with I've done a double-story extension on the back of a house, and I looked at the categories, and I realized that it fits nicely in medium renovation because it's the right price point for that. So when I go to fill out the form online, I tick the box that says I'm going to enter it for medium renovation. But then also I'm going to tick the box to say I'm going to put it in the kitchen because I've done a kitchen downstairs, and I'm going to also tick the box for bathroom because it's got a nice ensuite in the master suite that we've added at the back, at the top. So I ticked 3 boxes, and then I click next and I get 1 form to fill in. So it's quite a time-saving piece because I'll fill in all the information about that project and I'll have had 3 entries off it. It also works for things like, for example, if you have built a new house, but it's a new home, but you've also built it to passive house standards, for example, you could tick when you're going through the entry process, new home and sustainable project. And then when you fill out that 1 form, you'll get a couple of extra questions for the sustainable part, but it will fit, it will enter you into both categories for 1 form. The other tip is if you then save your entry, it then splits it into all these different nominations and you can go back and edit. And so you might make it a little bit more personal. I might take out the pictures and just put pictures of the bathroom in the one that's just for bathroom, but a bulk of the work has already been done. The client testimonial's the same, things like that. So it's a good time-saving tip, but also more entries, the more likely you are to win. So you may as well be ticking more of these boxes. So yeah, that's the top tip. Other thing is don't forget about the downloadable Word versions of the questions. So for all the entries, on the website, we have a downloadable version of the questions that you can download in Word and type into. So I've entered quite a few awards. We've actually won awards for the Master Builder Awards, which is always fun. And that's the way I like to do it. I like to type it, make sure it's all correct and what I want, and then share it with colleagues to review or do a final proof. And then I just copy and paste the information into the Word portal at the end. So yeah, it's a nice little thing to be able to do just to make it a bit smoother process. Okay, and final top tip is don't forget to shout about your people and your business. So for some reason, every time people love to put their projects up for the nominations. We get so many more for the projects than we do for the people. And actually, people are a key part of the business. And the things like the Apprentice of the Year and Outstanding Builder of the Year really are the stories that get us the most coverage in the press. So, for example, we had a winner last time who had a great story, and we managed to get it in the Nottingham Echo, which is his local paper, which is brilliant for his business. And they really do make sort of excellent stories because they're things that people want to hear about. So yeah, while considering your projects, do think, is there someone in my team that I could nominate? Have I got an apprentice? Is there someone that's a bit of an unsung hero and has trained the apprentices really well for years, or things like that? Just try and think outside the box. And the same with the sort of business, have you made lots of changes? Have you grown your business? Is there a story there that you could pick out? Yeah. And yeah, sorry, this is a lot of pictures, but the awards are so visual, and it's really is the best part of my job is the attending the events. So here's some pictures of last time's regional and home nation events. Lots of happy winners. So yeah, just to kind of let you know how this process works. If you are one of the lucky winners at the Devolved and Home Nation event, you will receive lots of ways to shout about your business and celebrate your wins. Like I was saying about the PR, it's all about shouting about your businesses and making sure that we give you ways to say how great you are. So you'll get a trophy, you'll get a certificate, you'll get a PDF version of the certificate, you'll get a winner's logo that you can use on your website, you'll get social media graphics that you can share, you'll get email signatures, you'll even get a professional photo of you winning if you attended the event. So you'll have this whole pack of things that you can go away and use to shout about how, your win. But we also share a lot of the non-winning entries on our social media, and we use those to promote things. All of the Apprentice went in our magazine last time because they were all brilliant stories. And we often pick out the case studies and things from the bank of awards. So it's not actually only the winners that get promotion. We try and use them as much as possible throughout everything we do. And then finally, you will also receive 2 free tickets to the national event if you're a winner. So that's always nice. So once you have submitted your nominations, we will invite you to attend one of the regional events, like I mentioned. As you can see on your screen, here's the list of the dates that we're going to hold them next year. In the middle is the region you're in and then where it would be. And the date, they're all in the sort of spring and early summer. Yes, and people do always ask me this question, so I'm gonna say it in this webinar. Do we shortlist entries? No, we do not. So the reason we don't shortlist is because we think every member's entries are amazing and you're all equally brilliant to us, and we wouldn't really feel comfortable going through them and deciding against each other. And actually, they're all so good, I don't think I could ever decide anyway. So what we do is we send every single entry to independent judges, and they review them and they look at all the different parts of it, and they make the decision. So we will never release a shortlist. We never rank anyone against anyone. You just have to turn up to the event to see if you're a lucky winner. And then I've also included here the date for the national event. So we're going to be holding that on Friday, the 26th of September at the Kimpton Clock Tower Hotel in Manchester. And it will be hosted again by Nick Knowles, hopefully fresh from his win on Strictly, but we'll see about that. So yeah, he's coming back as our host. And finally, about the national ceremony, just a quick reminder that everyone that wins in the project categories at the national level, they also get entered into then the ultimate Grand Prix, where we then judges decide who is crowned the overall Master Builder of the Year, and that winner will drive away with this Isuzu pickup truck worth £42,000. This is the new one. It's not actually released yet. I think it comes out in January, so it's the latest model. So kindly Isuzu have donated that for us for the prize. So it's something quite amazing to win. And yeah, my final slide, just a quick reminder again, it's free to enter, so please do enter multiple times, multiple categories, multiple projects, multiple people. You've got until the 10th of January to do it, so it's quite a long time to get it all ready, but do try and start thinking about it now. And if you've got any questions, awards@fmb.org.uk is the best place to do it, and the team will get back to you. That's all from me, Hayley.
Thank you, Laura. That is perfect. And I would just encourage everybody in the audience, if they've got a question now, to pop it in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen again. But also anybody who's watching on catch up can use that awards@fmb.org.uk email address if any questions are occurring to them that we haven't addressed. But I'm now going to ask, thanks, Laura, I'm going to ask Angela Hyam to start sharing her slides and talk about showcasing your work in the very best light. Thank you, Angela. Do you want to pop your camera on as well?
Yeah.
There you are.
I'm having a technical moment there, finding all the buttons.
Okay.
but here we are. So hi everyone. So I'm Angela from Overview, and I set up our company about 18 months ago with an aim to help companies in construction to win more work through great case studies and award submissions. So what we do is we help write up the award submissions and provide the photography so that you have great entries to have the best possible chance of winning. So a massive thank you to the FMB for letting me speak, and I'll just go through quite simple tips, and I think Laura's already covered them, but I'll probably come from a slightly different angle. So like the very key thing to think about when you're preparing for your entry is planning and preparing. So even if you think that you've got loads of time, the submission date is the 10th of January, there's no real panic, if you like. Really like submitting for awards and go and really trying to showcase your business so effectively you win more work in the future. Because if you can get an award, you're more likely to credibly win more business and charge more for said business, which is what we're all kind of after, is making more money. It's kind of really starting to think about that in your kind of daily, weekly, monthly activities. When you take on a new project, if you really know that it's going to be a special project, maybe just like earmark it for an award. So like Laura said, even if you've got a project going on now, but it won't complete until the new year after the submission, that could be the submission that you submit 2 years' time. And then it gives you all the chance to, think of all the great things you've done in that project that are going to make it stand out and be one of the best that the FMB see. So planning and preparing is key. Next is obviously photography. Obviously, preferably professional photography, because it'll come from the best composition, the best quality, but just relevant photography as well. And obviously, it'll depend on the size of the project as to whether you want to invest in professional photography. But really thinking about when you've completed the project. So there's lots and lots of different categories in the FMB, and there's a whole host of completed projects submissions, and then there's a people submissions that Laura touched on. So in terms of completed projects, just to commission a local photographer to go and get key overview photographs of your build or your kitchen or your bathroom will really set you apart from everyone else, because it'll make it's what draws the eye into your submission and makes the reader want to read more about why your project's special and what you did that's different. So that will really make a difference when, you know, everyone's faced with like hundreds and hundreds of applications. And then from a people point of view, if you're going for apprentice of the year or business of the year, it is really about your people. So make sure it's not just a picture of a bathroom. We need to see the people involved in your project that have made the difference. So, you know, if it's a photograph of the project manager working on site, or the apprentice when he's first day on the tools and you're all excited and his first day at work, or he's won an award, or whatever's happened. It's these kind of natural photographs that tell the story that are going to help make your submission and entry stand out. And then last but definitely not least is, obviously there's a whole range of questions there that you need to answer, and it's giving the time to consider the questions as a team as to why this project that you're putting forward is award winning. So really think, even if you think it's the most obvious thing, sometimes the most obvious thing is not, you know, because it's your business and your project and your expertise, you think it's really obvious that you did an excellent job at, I don't know, fitting said kitchen. But if you don't highlight the problems that you overcame, then you won't be expressing why this project stands out. So don't let detail of how you overcame challenges go astray. So, you know, explain why and qualify why it's the best project, and then provide evidence. So if you've spoken to the client and they're happy for you to use a testimonial, they're great ways of adding personality to your submission and really letting the client tell the judges why you should be winning an award for the work that you've done. But all in all, it's about clear and concise answers. So, you know, not just writing lots and lots of words for the sake of it, but really thinking about, we did this, it was brilliant, we had this problem, why did we have the problem, how did we overcome it, why is it special, and really like focusing on that. And as we were talking just yesterday in our preparation, you know, it doesn't have to necessarily be lots and lots of sentences. If you feel more comfortable bullet pointing the things that you've done great and why they were brilliant, that's another way of conveying your story. But it's all about getting across the why you're the best. And if you do those two things, you should have an excellent submission. So I think that's it for me now.
Brilliant. Thanks, Angela. Yeah, I think as Laura was saying earlier as well, both of us over the years have talked to many members who think that their projects are maybe not glamorous and exciting and unusual enough to be entered for the awards. But as Angela was saying, almost every project has a sort of element of problem solving to it and something special about it. So yeah, there's some questions coming in, but do keep them typing them into the box, and I can see that both Laura and I have answered a couple of them as we've gone along, but we can also address those in discussion at the end as well. So now I'm going to hand over to Alex Strikovs, who is going to share some slides about his hints and tips about awards entries. Over to you, Alex.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alex from Home Republic, and I will try to share some tips on preparing the successful award-winning entry from actually the builder's perspective. I think ladies before me covered it quite well, but I'll try to explain something more specific from my point of view. So obviously you start from category and project selection, and the most important here to remember that it's not as difficult as it seems whatsoever. Once you start doing this, it's all getting there naturally. But you need to start early, and you need to allocate some time, sufficient time, for preparing and reviewing your entry. That's really important. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Then you decide on which projects and which projects you want to showcase. If it's a project award, then choose project carefully. Think about the story. Think about what's unusual, what you can actually highlight and show. If it's a company or apprentice award, then think about bright examples, bright individuals, and showcase some really incredible work experience. But also, you can go for several categories, meaning that, for example, if you have a very nice large construction project, you would fill in for the award, but then within this project, you would have a lovely kitchen and a great bathroom, so you can separately fill in for those two categories as well. And also, if you have a few lovely middle-sized or large-sized projects, just put them in, all of them, because that's going to give you more chances, I guess, for winning. Then photos and videos, they really need to be good, absolutely professional and inspirational, something unusual, because I think this is how initially your projects are being shortlisted and chosen. So it's really important that they amazing, and you would actually show mostly the end result, not too many pictures of actually ongoing work, and show the full scope, not just some detailing, but rather the complete scope of work. Show various project areas, something which, if you show the bathroom, then show from all sort of angles. And if you show the large project, it needs to be internal, external pictures, as much information as possible, and maybe a 1 or 2 pictures of before, after. That would be also nice. If you also have videos, you can add those to, like, links to these videos into the text. And about text, I'll speak a little later. But essentially, before writing the text, you would need to think about the story of your project or your entry. It really must be an outstanding project. You would not win it with something usual. If you're thinking about entering and you've got some nice projects, think about it in a different way, what you can do to make it a winning entry. When you thinking about a story, use contrasts. People love it. I think it's what could be and what actually happened. What have you done? Mention challenges and what problems you overcome, and it could be value engineering, improved timeline, maybe strict budget, or anything like this. And then obviously summarize your experience, what you've learned from this project, explain what your client felt, include the testimonial, and also always think about it from the judge's perspective. Judges are not builders. They're not interested in construction details. They're interested in the finished product. So that's what you're gonna highlight and showcase. Now the text preparation is just practically how you get the text right. You would create texts in advance, review several times or a couple of times, and improve. And you try to make it easy to read and be up to the point. And as was mentioned before by Angela, use bullet points. That's really helps people understand what was happening. I mean, not all of it, but the most important items can be listed that way. You can add links to your website, to any publications you have about yourself or about the project, your maybe YouTube channel with videos or client testimonials, or anything like that, which can, because the entry text is quite limited, so you would direct the judges to somewhere on the other resource where they can know more about you and maybe about the project as well. And you can use AI now, artificial intelligence, for text proofing, actually, like ChatGPT or Gemini, to ensure that it's polished and nice. You would always double check after that, before the submission. And if you're lucky to win it, then the implications of the award are absolutely incredible. It starts with the ceremonies, regional, ceremonies are great, but then if you're lucky to win it, you go into national ceremony where you would meet all the winners from different places of this country, which is absolutely incredible. You get so much experience and exposure. And then after that, online visibility, and you would get to look publications and articles and magazines. And internally for us, for example, it's always a moral boost for our employees, for everyone involved in the company, and for our clients as well. It's outstanding material to advertise your company, and it's reassurance for prospective clients, as well as it's a reason to be proud for existing clients, because you've done something for them, and it would result in subsequent recommendations. So yeah, go for it, no doubt. That's it from me. Thank you very much.
That is great. Thank you, Alex. So I'd like to ask other speakers to put their cameras back on now, and stay with us, Alex. Put your camera back on, and then we can answer any other questions. This is your last chance to type any questions in the Q&A box at the bottom there if there are any other questions that have occurred to people. But there's a few questions that Laura's answered in the box already, but I think it'd be useful to go through some of those, because I'm not sure that people who are viewing on catch up can see the chat. So it might be useful to just look at those. And I think Jack asked a question about whether you could submit video reels, and obviously Alex has already mentioned that, because you talked about putting the link to videos within the text. So the answer to that seems to be yes. Laura, did you have anything to add on that?
I did. So the way it works is we can't host the videos on our website. So you need to put it into something like YouTube or Vimeo or some kind of way to host it, so it feeds off to like a third party to watch it. And so all the judging is done online, and they can see all your pictures online. So it will then nicely display and they can watch it. Just so you understand, there's a little box that you can put those links in. But Alex has given a little good sneaky tip there that there's one box where you can put a video, but when he did his, he quite carefully added them into lots of other places so that the judges could see a little bit more. So yeah, that is an option as well.
And I noticed that Jack said that he'd got some good drone footage of projects, which is kind of a new thing that we'll just be starting to see now, sort of aerial photographs of building projects. That's something I'm looking forward to watching when we get some of those with our entries. That will be great. And then we had a question from Junaid, which Laura has answered, about the criteria for commercial projects. And I guess commercial projects is one where the client is a business, isn't it? But in this case, it includes public sector projects as well. So I don't know if you want to just say a bit more about.
Yes, so the commercial project is sort of an outstanding commercial building or project, either a new build or a refurbishment. So this can be either or an outstanding public sector, buildings used for health, leisure, sports, community buildings, anything like that. That's what we want to see in those. And again, they often have really great stories attached, so make sure you pick out all the stories in that. But yeah, we really like to see those projects, and they're normally some of the more unusual ones.
Yes, great. And then Harry had a question about the different categories for the different sizes of renovation projects. So small, medium and large. I don't know if you just want to reiterate the bands for the project sizes there.
So they have changed a little bit for those of you that have done it before. Obviously with finances changing, we've changed the bands a little bit. So now a small renovation is anything under 75,000. So it's a project that's valued up to that. Medium renovation is projects valued between 75,000 and under 200,000. And large renovation is anything over 200,000. So that gives you the little breakdowns of what they are. They tend to be our most popular categories. So yeah, they're the ones that everyone manages to find a home, I think, for most projects in.
Yeah, and Adam has asked a supplementary question about the videos. When you said, Laura, that you can put a link to a third-party website such as YouTube with your video on it, can you link videos directly from your website?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's just we just can't hold the video file. You can't upload it as if you would a picture. But yes, absolutely, your own website. I would recommend pointing to your website, especially if you've got, you might have a little bit more on there than maybe you can fit in the entry form.
Yeah, brilliant. So, and I had a question occurred to me, Laura, when you were talking about the categories and about eligibility and all the work having to be wholly completed by a master builder. I assume that takes account of, you know, it's common practice to maybe use an electrical or plumbing subcontractor, and that's all fine within the T&Cs, I'm guessing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just about making sure that you are the lead contractor and it is your project. So, you know, but you can, we have had before, so a good example of this is we had a winner in London who had built the outside of a block of flats, but had not done any of the internals. But they were very clear on their submission and only submitted pictures of the externals and the brickwork and what they had done. And they were very clear that this is what we have done. And they still were eligible and won because they're not taking credit for anything that wasn't theirs. So you
Right.
just have to be very careful to say, you know, this is the work that we have done as the company, not if they had then submitted the whole project and put pictures of the inside, it wouldn't have been eligible because they hadn't
Yeah.
done that work.
Okay, that's really clear. Thank you. Okay, so I don't know if there are any other last minute thoughts that either Angela or Alex want to share before we close the webinar, because we don't have any new questions coming through. But I think there's been a lot of inspiration shared in this webinar, and I'm feeling like I wish I was a builder and I had a project to enter into the awards. But I'll
I'm
have
just
to
very
look at everybody
excited.
else's.
I'm
Yes.
very excited about seeing them all. It's the
Yeah.
best part of my job. It's when that submission closes and I get to review them all and have a look at all the amazing work that everyone does.
It is great to celebrate the fantastic work that our members do. And yeah, so we're looking forward to seeing those entries. So if there's nothing else to share, Angela, did you have any last minute comments?
I was just going to say, obviously, not to hesitate really in having a go, because what's the worst thing that'll happen? You won't win. But if you're not in it, you can't win it.
Exactly.
So you may as well have a go and also think about future planning for the next one, because maybe your amazing project is going to be next year. So then you can be primed and ready for 2027.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
it's
that
all
seems a
about
long way off,
planning.
but yeah. And I'm sure you would agree with that as well, Alex, that, you know, what's the worst that can happen? You don't win.
Absolutely. And one thing to add is that for the builders, there's always a lack of time issue, even related to submitting the awards and preparing the awards. But it definitely is something, you know, the builders with the good projects should go for 100%. That's the best money investment whenever. Even whenever you win it or not, you might not win it this time, but the next time you will one day if you keep trying and keep highlighting your success, what you're doing.
Well, that's a perfect note to sum up the whole webinar on. Thank you very much. So it just remains to say thank you very much to Angela, Alex and Laura for all of their insights they've shared with us today. And you will receive a follow-up email which will have the link to the recording, and it'll have that, I'm sure, that awards@fnb.org.uk email address for any further questions that we haven't been able to answer today. But we'll close the webinar and say thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you next time around. Thank you.